wanna be a producer, lunches, parties every day.
I wanna be a producer and sleep until 2:30. I wanna be a producer and say you, not you. I've always wanted to be a producer, or anyway, in any way, I would work in the men's room of a Broadway theater. I just wanted to be close to Broadway.
Mel loves Broadway, and in fact, in every single movie, if you think back, he takes a nod to Broadway.
Dressed up like $1 million trooper.
The Producers is ostensibly a satire send-up of Broadway types and supposedly holds Broadway characters up to ridicule. And we all know it's exactly the opposite, that it's a love letter to Broadway's tradition, to its history.
Musical comedy seemed almost revolutionary in 2001 when Mel Brooks adapted his 1968 film, The Producers, to the Broadway stage. The musical paired a nerdy accountant named Leo Bloom with the eccentric Max Bialystock, an unscrupulous producer who takes money from little old ladies to finance his shows.
I've been a lying, double-crossing, two-faced, backstabbing, despicable crook. But I had no choice. I was a Broadway producer.
Here was a man I worked for who was a real Max Bialystock. I can't tell you his name because he might still be alive. He'd be about 104 now. He made wonderful love to the ladies over 85 on his leather couch in his office.
It's time for Max to put his backers on their backs and thrill them with amazing acts. Those aging nymphomaniacs. Anyone could throw in $100 here or there. I think it was a much simpler time. And so this particular producer did sort of hook up with a lot of little old ladies.
And they dutifully write out the check to Cash, which was always the name of his latest play, Cash. It's a funny name for a play, and he would usually say, so is the Iceman coming.
Max Bialystock is really someone who wants to become a great impresario. And of course he wants to make money also.
Ooh, the two cardinal rules of being a Broadway producer are: one, never put your own money in the show. And two, never put your own money in the show! Never put your own money in the show. That is taboo. Get it?
The show became the first must-see musical comedy in decades. And tickets were so hard to come by that the producers of The Producers could charge $480 for each VIP seat.
It's been controversial, but I don't know why it should be. What was happening was that when you had a big hit, all the money was being made by the scalpers. People who had nothing to do with the show's creation were reaping all the benefits from it. And we felt that there had to be something we could do to stop that.
The economic gamble of a new musical in the 21st century is so intense that few producers can afford to go it alone.
It's not easy to put on a Broadway musical. It takes a village to put on a Broadway musical. It's very different now than years ago. You'll find that there are many names above the titles with the title of producer.
Behind me, you see a phalanx, an avalanche of Jews who have come with their talent, their money. And one of the Weinsteins is at the end of it.
It took a total of 14 producers and $10 million to bring this musical comedy to Broadway. And more Hollywood and media moguls are getting into the act. But it wasn't so long ago that just such an insane, larger-than-life figure dominated the Great White Way. He was called the Abominable Showman, David Merrick.